I'm Nathan Johnson, and I've been a part of City View pretty much since the beginning. I grew up in Abilene, Texas, and then I went to college in College Station, Texas, at Texas A&M. When I came to Fort Worth, I didn't know a soul, so I had absolutely no connections at all. I didn't know anybody in the city. As a single guy, I've found that I really have a need for community, and it's not just having friends and stuff to call all the time. I really do need some people to speak wisdom into my life. I need some people to pray with. I need some people to ask questions to and answer their questions as well. My first Sunday at City View, they mentioned something called the plug table or the info table. And so I went and talked to Jamil Terry. Just wanted to ask some questions about City View, find out about the Believe. So I talked to Jamil. He invited me to his home group, and that's really kind of how I got plugged into the family at City View. When I go to my home group, it's not just a bunch of people gathering around to study the Bible. We sit down, we have dinner together. We talk throughout the week. We text message each other all the time. I've seen people bearing each other's burdens. I've seen people cooking each other dinner if there's a time of need, or if there's a bereavement meal, or whatever there needs to be. I've seen people praying for hurts and for joys. I've seen people come together and really truly experience that bond of Christ, because even though we are all totally different from totally different backgrounds and everything, we are unified through Christ, and that's where we truly see the body of Christ with all of its different parts, all of its different members coming together to further the cause of the gospel, because it's not an end in and of itself. The community here is not an end in and of itself. It must breathe life into the community, and it must go out. It can't stay in our homes. It can't stay on the softball field. It can't just be something that we do and we hold sacred. It must go out into the community and further the cause of the gospel and glorify God. I love the fact that we have integrated life groups and home groups because I get to see what a godly, solid marriage is, and I get to see the struggles that happen within that marriage, and I get to see what parenting kids looks like. Family doesn't just happen, it doesn't just magically happen to you. You do have to put yourself out there. You do have to give a little bit of yourself, and it does take time. It didn't just come find me. The first thing that you can do is either fill out an info card and check the box for groups. If you want to be a part of a new group that's getting started, just let us know. Fill out an info card, express an interest in that, because we've got leaders who are willing to start groups right now. We just need the people to get them started, and that way pretty much everybody's new, everybody's in the same boat. Just sign up for a sports team, get plugged in with one of those, or sign up for the ladies' book study. It's starting up this week. Then the next thing that you could do is you can go find me at the info table. I'll be standing out there. I'd love to see you. I'd love to talk to you and answer any questions, point you to a home group, or you can just find someone out here that you're shaking hands with. Just ask them who their home group leader is and go to that home group. Don't just shake hands with someone and say, hey, I'll be there, but actually go to it. Make that a priority in your life, because things will kind of creep in. Things will always kind of begin to clutter up your schedule. Make that a priority and actually go and give it a shot. Another great way to get plugged in is just go to one of our classes. We've got a gospel class coming up. We've got a Bible overview class coming up. Or you can just come out to lunch. We ask anybody out here. Most everybody goes out to lunch. If somebody rejects you, if somebody says they're not going out to lunch, go out to lunch with me. When I think of the church as a family, I think of a close-knit biblical community that weeps over sin together, that rejoices over joys together, and I think of people who pray together and do life together. Yeah, I think there's a misperception around that people think that smaller churches are inherently more family-oriented. They feel more like a good community, and that bigger churches are impersonal and cold. And I've seen that not to be true in several different circumstances. I've seen big churches who feel really welcoming and really comfortable and really nice and glad that you're there. And I've seen some small churches who feel like they just want to, like they're frustrated that you darken their doors and upset their community. So I think that there's a misperception that big churches are cold and small churches are welcoming. Whereas with City View, I think it's kind of built into the way that we are, into the people that we are, so that no matter how big we get, no matter how small we are, how big we get, the way that we are geared is to bring people into a community, into a biblical community, and have a solid church family to be plugged into. And so it doesn't matter how many people are in the chairs. It doesn't matter how big the auditorium is. It doesn't matter any of that at all. It matters the structure and the posture of our hearts toward the gospel and toward the community here.